I'll be honest, I'm missing getting on planes and flying from one event to another, either reporting on world-class air sports events or organising skydiving boogies. But this next guy, he really wanted to get on a plane. Police arrested Alejandro Carlson, 41, after he got onto the tarmac at McCarran International Airport, ran up to an Alaska Airlines airplane and somehow managed to climb up onto one of the wings. The suspect stayed there for 45 minutes before he fell onto the tarmac. The Federal Bureau of Investigation responded to the airport security breach, but it was quickly determined the incident was not a federal case. Well, he can definitely say he's jumped from a plane. I would log it. Let's see what else has been going on in the skies over the last 7 days. I'm your host, Regan Tetlow. This is Season 4, Episode 6, and this is Air Sports News. So any paragliders not wanting to spend Christmas with family around the tree, we've found something for you in Vietnam. The Phutaleng Open 2020 will be organised by the Viet Wing's Hanoi Paragliding Club. This 4-day event will be held from December the 24th to the 27th at Vietnam's best cross-country site in Tam Giong. The idea of the Phutaleng Open 2020 is to bring the paragliding pilots from around the world to Hai Long Son mountain range to enjoy the love for competition flying. Tam Giong site is located in the northeast of Vietnam. The site is surrounded by 2 high mountain ridges with the highest 2 peaks of Vietnam, which are Phan Xipang and Phutaleng. So far, 36 pilots from 4 countries have been registered. So where it's possible, it's always good to catch up with previous Air Sports News guests to see how their projects are progressing. Let's start with my very good friend Teti Mantinengo and see what's happening with a Sky on Stage competition.
We just got some news, haven't we? A quick update on the Sky on Stage. Tell me what's been happening.
Yes, so basically I had to postpone a few times the deadline because, we know the difficult situation and people couldn't really jump a lot. So I thought, why not, wait until end of December. So I got, the Sky on Stage 2020 with the original games. We are having some entries now, a little bit in the freestyle, free fly two-way, some in sky surf and a couple in wingsuit acro. Why not? I thought, because I got this video platform to play with, why not open a new game for called Throwback for choreographies, no matter if indoor or outdoor, from artistic flying, obviously, from past years, while people are not able to jump, And that one has a deadline end of January, basically.
Your other disciplines, when's the deadline on those?
Yes, basically, we also launched an indoor freestyle.
Yes.
With music.
Yes.
And that one is like on newly choreographies, if possible, and it ends of January. 31st of January is the last date to submit, and it has like open, juvenile and junior category, female and male.
After a successful virtual racing season, DCL moves into 2021 with plans to create a hybrid season, with part of the Drone Grand Prix being in DCL the game and part in real-life locations around the world.
This is absolutely amazing flying!
DCL and the team's strategy was always to have a simulator and an esport league and a real league.
We showed that we can have an amazing show just with real life racing, but now in 2020 we also showed the world that we can actually have an exciting racing series online as well.
If this winter weather is forcing some of you paragliding pilots to stay on the ground, well, the next best option is, of course, a good movie. And we found 2 good ones for you. Fly to Fun team members just released a fresh video about their paragliding passion. Fior and Stefano are the top Italian paragliders who present amazing aerobatic skills in the movie. Also, Addiction Happiness team released an amazing video about their hike and fly hobby. Hike and fly is a discipline in paragliding where you take your paraglider, harness and all necessary gear, pack it into a backpack, then hike up the mountain and then enjoy the flight back down. Both movies are available on the YouTube channel for free. Now we have something really special connecting aviation and Christmas time. One of the best Polish paramotor pilots, Wojciech Bogdal, did a little tuning of his powered paraglider, and now it looks less like an athlete's gear and more like Santa's sleigh with reindeers. Let's have a look. And this links nicely onto our first special guest this week from the world of paramotors. Please welcome Alex Ledger.
So what's been happening? I've not seen you for a long time. You've just come back from Dubai. Were you doing something out there?
Yeah, so we've got a kind of franchise out there, Sky School UAE.
Yeah.
And that's been going for a couple of years now. And we've been doing a project. We've been training up for a project in Saudi Arabia, which is opening its doors to adventure tourism. And paramotoring is one of those things, working with our old friend Joshua Caird.
Joshua, yes, so that's going to be in Neom, the new city.
Exactly, yeah.
So what is it going to be, a paramotor school, or what's it going to be?
No, we're doing an activation project. So we're flying through Neom and showcasing, its stunning scenery to the world.
So what have you been doing then in general over the last couple of years? Give me a bit of a rough outline of how your life has been.
So I live in Chamonix. I've literally just come back off the mountain. As you probably know, the ski resorts are shut, but we can still go out ski touring. I've just flown, we skin up, fly down, so that's nice. And be out in the mountains in this when the snows come early, and the conditions are beautiful for flying as well. So my winters are spent here. My summers are spent basically bouncing around Europe, making sure the schools are running properly. We've been operating in Portugal, on the coast, in Spain, and also back in the UK on a drop zone, actually, Hinton and Hedges. And in the meantime, I've also been doing quite a few projects. We run these kind of flying trips called Sky Weeks, and I take people who are already qualified on these kind of trips around Europe and other parts of the world. We've got one lined up for Namibia next year, which I'm really excited about. And I've done a few trips to Africa in the past. So yeah, always a favourite adventure for me. And then I also run the International Paramotor Association, which takes me around the world, meeting all these kind of mad people who like strapping engines on their back.
And the rest of the interview with Alex is ready to be watched right now on our YouTube channel. This is a place where we collect all our interviews with all our amazing air sports interview athletes. The future of the Reno Air Races, the fastest and most legendary aviation race, remains somewhat questionable as they struggle to deal with the damage caused by a serious accident some years ago, coupled with the most recent year's battle with COVID-19. It means Reno is struggling to maintain their normal activity for next year. For more than 56 years, the National Championships Air Races has carried on a proud legacy. Now that legacy is in jeopardy due to financial hardship from the COVID-19 pandemic. That is why organisers are asking for help by launching a fundraising campaign to save the races, with the goal of raising $500,000 by the end of this year. And what about a normal AirVenture event in 2021? Well, don't count on it, says the authorities. EAA continues to examine contingencies for AirVenture, but warns that people should be prepared for a very different show. Public health officials, including the CDC and the NIAID, are advising that large crowd events might not be practical until late into the summer or even the end of the year. European companies and organisations rolled out a hydrogen-powered research aircraft last Friday that they hope will provide the technical bedrock for commercial transport aircraft carrying up to 40 passengers. The airplane is called the HY4 and was displayed briefly at a hangar at the Stuttgart airport. Test flights began last month and more than 30 takeoffs and flights of up to 2 hours have been completed. HY4 using 6th generation hydrogen drive that uses a fuel cell to drive a single 160 horsepower electric motor for a top speed of 108 knots. They claim the range is up to 900 miles. Let's move on to my second special guest this week, a unique talent from the Russian Federation. She's part air sports athlete and part aviation performer and artist. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Olga Bukulina.
Let's tell people who you are. You're a wind tunnel flyer, you're a wind tunnel instructor, skydiver originally, skier, photographer.
Oh my goodness.
Did I miss anything out?
I think you got most of it. Well, I mean, professionally, I'm a wind tunnel instructor and a coach. That's my main activity. That's my sport, my job, my life, pretty much. Used to be a skydiver, and yeah, I do have other hobbies like skiing and some speed flying. I do like photography when I travel. I'm not like professional photographer, but I just like to take pictures when I travel and like make albums and keep the memories from the places I've been.
What is it about freestyle to music that the people who know nothing about air sports they can connect with a little bit?
Well, that's definitely my favorite thing to do in the tunnel, and I think it's very relatable to people because people are familiar with gymnastics, with figure skating, and freestyle in the tunnel with music gives you kind of that feeling. So you have no idea what's going on, but it looks really nice, and it's with the music, so you can really not just like fly around, you can really tell the story with your performance. And yeah, I think that particular thing makes it for people relatable and enjoyable to watch. I just really loved it, and I just wanted to do it, and I didn't know where it will take me. I just really liked it, and I just wanted to continue. And as I gained the experience, of course, I started to have some sport goals and some interests to compete and to participate in records and stuff. So because I mean it would be boring for me just to do the same thing over and over. I always want to evolve, no matter if I compete professionally or I'm just flying by myself or jumping. I just always want to evolve and create something new. So for me it's important to continue working on my own skills as well.
Want to know more from Olga? As always, check out our Air Sports Promotion YouTube channel. The last British Airways Boeing 747 took off for the last time just a few days ago before being retired due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. The jumbo jet, the last in BA's 31-strong fleet and wrapped in the retro gold Speedbird livery to mark the airline's centenary, took to the skies for a short 4-mile flight. It was waved off by engineers who have proudly maintained the fleet for years at its engineering base in Cardiff Airport and landed in St Athan, Vale of Glamorgan, where it will become an exhibition piece. Since its maiden flight in 1999, the aircraft registration GBYGC has spent more than 10 years in the air, clocking up 45 million miles, the equivalent of 190 trips to the moon. The Jumbo is still called the most beautiful long-range aircraft on the planet. When it comes to aviation simulations, the flight simulator from Microsoft is still the best known aviation game on the market. But now it will be also part of an aviation career for many US students. Experimental Aviation Association and Microsoft have committed to establishing 3 Microsoft Flight Simulator scholarships for each of the next 3 years, giving young aviation enthusiasts the opportunity to move from virtual flight via simulators to the real thing. In addition, Microsoft will provide copies of its new flight simulator to EAA's current Youth Flight Training Scholarship recipients, including the Ray Aviation Scholarship students for the next 3 years, as well as offer a discount on the new edition of Flight Simulator to all EAA members. Last week we featured the Red Baron Fokker 1 in our Hero of the Week section. Now aero modelers from China wanted to try a second lift of the biggest Red Baron replica ever built. Chinese aero modelers are building a huge replica with a 5-meter wingspan and huge 7-stroke radial engines. The last flight ended with a crash and the rebuild of the aircraft took several months. This month, the owners of the aircraft made a second try to lift off the aircraft again, and this is what happened. Some viewers commented that the winds were too heavy or too turbulent, while some others that the pilot made a mistake on the rudder steer. Anyway, we need to wait for a successful flight until the third attempt. That's it with the news section for this week, so let's move over to our Hollywood Hero of the Week. This movie was filmed in cooperation with the French Air Force. Initially, the standard safety rules applied, but eventually the minimum allowed altitude was reduced to only 3 meters and the minimum distance between aircraft was reduced to 1 meter. The filming of these flight sequences was mainly done from the air by Eric Magnan. To achieve this, one of the Mirage's external fuel tanks was modified to fit multiple cameras. Tracking shots were done from a hired Learjet. Additionally, jet aircraft are not allowed to fly over Paris. As a result of this, all the Paris filming had to be done on the actual Bastille Day, for which the filming crew got special permission. Many aviation filmmakers state that the air-to-air video shots remain some of the best aerial scenes ever recorded. On the 12th of December 1953, US Air Force test pilot Major Chuck Yeager flew the Bell X-1A rocket plane to Mach 2.44 speed, faster than anyone had ever flown before. After the rocket engine was shut down, the X-1A tumbled out of control and fell out of the sky. It dropped nearly 50,000 feet in 70 seconds. Yeager was exposed to accelerations of +8 to -1.5 Gs. The motion was so violent that Yeager cracked the rocket plane's canopy with his flight helmet. Yeager was finally able to recover by 30,000 feet and landed safely at Edwards Air Force Base. On the 13th of December 1972, NASA astronauts Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt began the last of the 3 moonwalks on the surface of the moon at the Taurus Lithoral Valley. This was the final EVA of the Apollo program, lasting approximately 7 hours 15 minutes. Gene Cernan was the last man to stand on the surface of the moon. On the 13th of December 1955, the first landing of a commercial jettiler on United States territory took place when a de Havilland Comet 3 GANLO aircraft arrived at Honolulu International Airport on the island of Oahu. The Comet 3 was on an around-the-world tour. The 3,212-mile flight from Nadi in Fiji to Honolulu took 6 hours and 41 minutes. On the 14th of December 1963, Marie Marvin died. She was a famous French pilot, piloted planes at multiple airline meetings, bombed a German airbase twice as an unofficial pilot during World War I, flew reconnaissance missions in North Africa, and was the only woman at the time to hold 4 pilot licenses simultaneously for balloon, plane, seaplane and helicopter. On December the 17th, 1935, the Douglas DC-3 aircraft made its first flight. The DC-3 is a propeller-driven airliner which had a lasting effect on the airline industry in the 30s, the 1940s and World War II. It had many exceptional qualities compared to previous aircraft. It was fast, had a good range, was more reliable and carried more passengers in greater comfort. And finally, happy birthday to Władysław Radomski, Polish champion in precision flying in 2008, 2012, 2014 and the Polish Rally Flying Champion 2014. But he famously said his greatest success is that I managed to fulfill my childhood dreams. That's it for today. I hope you've already registered on our brand new airsportsfan.com platform. If you have any questions or news from your region of airsports, don't hesitate to write to us on news@airsportspromotion.com. or you can get in touch with me directly on Twitter. So guys, we'll see you back here next week. Don't forget to give us a like and a share. We really appreciate it. And as always, stay safe and keep your eyes on the skies. Hoing ling song, hoing.